Welcome to The Planet Forward with Preetha, conversations for a greener future, the place where we ignite discussions and uncover innovations driving us towards sustainability. Every episode, join your host Preetha as we explore the stories, ideas, and pioneers making a real difference in our world. Get ready to be inspired, learn, and be a part of the change that propels us forward to a greener tomorrow.
Welcome back to Planet Forward with Preetha. Today, we are honored to host Vanitha Rajesh, Deputy Director at the Center for Mental Health and Inclusive Development at the Banyan. Vanitha brings a rich background in psychology and has dedicated her career to fostering inclusive living options for individuals with mental health issues. Leading the Banyan's Home Again program, Vanitha has been pivotal in promoting community integration and sustainable mental health care across various regions. Her commitment to mental health and her hands on approach in managing both the strategic and operational aspects of these programs have made significant impacts on the lives of many. Today, she shares her insights and experiences that shed light on the critical intersection of mental health care and community support. Vanitha, thank you so much for joining the show today. It's such a privilege to have you here.
Thank you, Preetha. It's my pleasure to be here as well.
Thank you so much. So, Vanitha, when I was looking through your bio, which was given to me, and specifically, I was like so intrigued to know more about the Home Again program. And I was like, I really wanted to understand like how this whole process works, right? Like, how is it, Banyan is so lucky that the right people come into Banyan. That was my first thing, because everybody I'm reading, you all have a beautiful background and a wonderful story to tell that how you came into Banyan. So I'm going to start with the exact same path, and I'm going to ask, like, could you begin by telling, like, what drew you to the field of mental health and particularly to your role at the Banyan?
Okay. So I chose psychology because I had a keen interest in working with people. So that's where it all began. So I did my graduation and post-graduation in psychology. Then in 2003, I saw a small ad in the newspaper saying that Banyan is hiring. So
Wow.
Banyan is my first. Yes, Banyan is
Oh
my first
my
job.
God.
So 2000. So I saw that ad, and then I just generally applied, and I got through the interview. And at that point of time, we had just one center at the Banyan, which was the Mogaper Center. That's the flagship model of the Banyan, which is an emergency care and recovery center. So, technically speaking, I've seen Banyan's journey from 2003, how it has evolved over these years, because what started as just one model and one project now has grown into several projects and several models and several sites, several places. We work out of 9 states and 2 low and middle income countries now. So I've literally seen the journey of the Banyan.
You've seen right from the inception you've been with Banyan.
Yes. So from 2003, how the Banyan has struggled both, to set systems in the programs itself, to advocating for the rights of persons with mental health issues, to creating new innovative models to cater to the of homeless people with mental health issues. So, and impacting, the work largely through the support from the government, influencing key people in the government to, aid in policy making, etc. So I have literally seen the journey of the Banyan, and I've learned in the process. So what I am today, a lot is to do with my work with the Banyan and what I've learned from the Banyan.
Wow, what a beautiful way to say, right? Especially when you start off a career fresh out of college, and 21 years old, and you're deciding that this is a place you want to work for. And then you have no any preconceived notions, because you're just going out fresh there and then learning the whole thing. And how beautifully you said, like, you've seen Banyan when it was just one center, and then how it has grown leaps and bounds and where it is today. And you've seen the growth, the entire trajectory you've seen with all the hardships. And, I think that is the beauty of all the folks who are at Banyan. At least, I've spoken to 8 people thus far. Every single person I've spoken thus far has a very similar story to say how they came into Banyan. They're very inspiring. Like you said, vast majority of the people I spoke, they've started their career there. That's all they know.
Yeah.
The entire world is Banyan. And I'm like, wow, what a beautiful, see, in this day and age when, employee attrition is at the high, people only stay at a place for like 1 year or 2 year, and people try to go and do several move on and find other, much better opportunities, at least monetary wise, at least. But people still sticking, irrespective of there are other opportunities outside, thinking that they can still, that actually speaks volume, I should say, really speaks volume about Banyan. So
just 1 minute.
Yeah.
1 minute. I just need to
Yeah.
hand over some.
Sure, no problem. Yeah. So the next question I want to ask is focus on your core, project that you're working at Banyan, the Home Again program, right? I've heard a lot about this Home Again program from other guests, but only very little they touched on it, but they have not elaborated more on it. But you being the person behind it, I really want to understand what is Home Again program and its core objectives. Like, how do you approach the challenges of integrating like individuals with mental health issues into the community setting? Because that's quite a task. So I'd like to listen to you speak about that.
So this concept of Home Again, actually, in 2005-06, around that period, where we had about 400, clients, users in our Mogapay center, which is actually a 100-bed facility. So imagine that we had a place where it was meant to be for 100 people. We had about 400 users accessing that particular.
So it's like overflowing.
Exactly. So then we tried multiple other options. We stopped admissions in between, and then we said that, we told the people that, this is all that we can also take in, because care and, basic, things that we were not able to consistently provide to our users, because 400 is a large number and
Absolutely.
we did not have the resources at that point of time. So we tried other options. We tried, working with the, police and admitting the users in, people who were rescued, we used to admit them at the Institute of Mental Health in Keelpog. So that was another model that was running simultaneously. So, at least we could focus on the existing number of people in our own centers, the 400 people, and we wanted to provide adequate care to them. So when we started doing that, we also realized that there was a lot of backlog of people who had come in the initial years of the Banyan, and they've been with us for several years. They've been with us for 2 years, 3 years. Some have been with us from 1993, ever since the Banyan had began. So many years people have been in an institutional setup. Is this the end for them? And when we were, discussing all these aspects, we had a group discussion or an interaction with our users itself. So when we did that, some of them came up with this idea of, why can't we rent out houses in the community? And, together as a family. It's not that, I have to only go back home to my family. What distress I have undergone over there.
Why would you want to put them in the same environment back?
So why should I go back to the same distress? I don't have a guarantee that when I go back home, things will change. So I might land up homeless again. I might, have a recurrence of illness again. So why do I have to go through these issues again and again? Why can't we live as a family? Why can't 4 or 5 of us who are here, who are my friends, live together in a house? Why do we need to continue to be in an institutional setup? When this thought came up from the clients and the users itself, we contemplated with the management, and we said, okay, fine, we do it as a trial. We'll try and see. We'll see how it works, because the general stigma that is attached to mental health issues does not change much in the community. Though
yes, I know. Our society is still backward in those thought process.
Exactly. So how do we approach this? Because the users do want to try this approach. So then what we decided was we will hire or rent a place just nearby to our ECRC, not very far off, because we know the community. The Mogapur community, we've been working for several years. From 1993, we've been working in that community. So they are aware of the work that we do. They do know that, we work with homeless people with mental health issues. What are the, challenges, etc. So the community is aware of our work, and we have built a rapport with the community over there. So why don't we try this as a model over there? And so we rented a house, and then about 4 or 5 of them moved into that house, and it faced a lot of challenges initially. So, we had a lot of resistance, though we knew the community. There was a lot
still
of
their resistance because, they have a lot of stigma attached to it.
Yes. The general notion is that people who are mentally ill are aggressive. They'll throw stones. They'll pull up fights. That's the kind of notion that people always have. So we did face a lot of challenges initially, but then beautifully the users itself started interacting with the neighbors, started to, go to the neighboring houses. They started, having, if there were children in those houses, they used to teach those children. They started taking tuition. So slowly when they started, if there was a festival, they used to go to the neighbor's house, cook something, give it to them. So like how all of us do, like
normally, exactly, yeah.
We just go across in the evenings, we sit with them, we have a chit chat of what is happening, etc. Slowly that integration started happening. It was not easy initially for us. Some of the house owners they initially used to give the houses, and then in a matter of, a day, they used to ask us to vacate because the others around are creating an issue. So kind of challenges we did face, but slowly, the users itself helped us to, get over these challenges over the years. And then when we felt, okay, this is one of, a model that can be approached and, can be taken ahead. We then started speaking a lot more to our users, and we put across this idea to them. So this has come from you all. Now we would like to, go ahead and scale it up a little more. And, from being in an institutional setup to moving independently, to be able to take care of yourself, and like how we would be at home. We basically have formed families.
That is so nice, right? Like, see, I think our society is yet to, come in terms about, especially a women living alone, or, 4 friends coming together and living alone. Unless I think that IT industry has changed that a little bit, because there are a lot of people, especially in metros like Bangalore and all, because of the job, they all stay together. But on the other hand, if they're not part of that elite society or educated society, and these individuals who just went through a traumatic experience are coming to live together to make sure that they're not having to go through the traumatic experience, our society is yet to mature in that aspect. There's a long way to go. But what I'm seeing is, like, you understood the challenge, but then it didn't deter you away from not trying it. You very well knew that the path that you've chosen is going to be faced with many, many obstacles, but you still continue knowing that, okay, we'll try it out. But because of that thought and that grit, and also making sure that you're supporting those clients' thoughts, that, and you respected their thoughts, to understand, okay, they've taken so much pain to come out of the trauma, and then you don't want to push them back again. So you respected their thoughts, gave them the support they needed. So like you said, right, so they themselves started to value that a lot, and then they did their best on their part to go and mingle with the rest of the society, to see that, okay, we're not scary people, we are normal people. We just went through a phase in life which we are not too happy about it, but we are fine now. We want to come and live a normal life just like you. And that's so beautifully, when you kept saying that, that's the narration which was going on in my head. I was like, see, everything starts with the support and a trust and a belief that it can be done. Like, every human on this earth, that's all we all need, right? And standing by them, and saying that it's okay, let's give it a shot. So it could have gone south also, but that was not the thing. You were like, okay, let's give it a shot. Whatever the outcome is, we learn over the process. So I'm really grateful that you told that. So now I'd like to understand. So now that was your initial challenge with Home Again. So now how many homes do you have? How many people are in that structure? Can you tell me like, how the before and after is right now?
So that was the initial house that we set up, and then we put this idea across to Grand Challenges Canada. So they had come up with the funding option for us. It was a trial that they wanted to do because we had started only one house. They wanted to see how we could scale this up further. We could have many more people, not only within the Banyan or in our ECRCs, but also other government institutional settings where people have been languishing in these places for many, many, many years. If you see in India, we have in each state we have a government mental health hospital.
Yes.
So would be some would have about 200 people, some 600, some 1,200.
Wow.
So of this, if you see 60 to 70% of them are long-term clients.
They've been there for many, many years.
Many, many years. So we wanted to give that as an option to not only the Banyan users, but also open it out to other organizations where there are people who are long-term. So when we put this idea across to Grand Challenges Canada, they first wanted to try it within the Banyan itself because we had about 400 users, of which at least about 200 of them were long-term clients. So when we put this across to them, they came forward and they funded this program for us. And we started the next lot of Home Again houses, about 12 houses in our rural program. So Chengalpet is another
place where you have,
district where we have our programs. We have an ACRC, Emergency Care and Recovery Center. We also run a mental health program, Nalam.
Nalam is there, okay, yeah.
So that's how we came into the Chengalpet chapter. So we work about in a Tirupur block, which has about 55 panchayats.
Okay.
So the first program that we initiated in the Chengalpet chapter was the Nalam program. Post tsunami, we had come for an assessment, and the people over here, told us that there's a lot of mental health issues over here. Why don't you start clinics over here? So that's how we stepped into the Chengalpet district itself, and we chose the Tirupur block, and we started working. We ran outpatient clinics, both for general health and psychiatric issues. We used to come from Mogaper, have clinics, and then we used to go back.
Oh, that's quite a commute for you guys, right? From Chennai to Chengalpet.
And then after about 6 months period, when we started this program, what happened was the people in the community itself said, why don't you just set up your own center here? So one person came forward to give their land to us and build a place. And then
my God,
bought that land from the person, and then we built a center over here. And we had a 12-bedded facility here initially. So an inpatient facility which had 12 beds, and then outpatient clinic. That's how we started the Chengalpet chapter. And then we also built another place just across in the same Chengalpet district itself. That was for long-term clients. Some people who do not fit into an institutional setup, who cannot be in an ECRC kind of setup, but cannot also move into a home again kind of a model. There are some people who do not choose to go into the community. They do not want to live in
probably they feel so insecure to go out. Okay.
Yeah, for that group of people, we do not want them to continue in an institutional setup per se. We wanted them to be in a much more open environment. So we built this another place where it's like a cottage kind of a setup. So individual cottages where 5 people live together, and so that's called the clustered group homes. So that concept also kickstarted in the Chengalpet chapter. So simultaneously, post tsunami, we also approached the community. Grand Challenges Canada came forward and supported this home again model. So we rented houses in the rural side, and about 12 houses we set up at that point of time.
Oh my God! So are you based in Chengalpet?
I am, yeah. I am.
Okay, okay. Oh, very nice. Next time I'm coming to India, I'm definitely coming to visit you, Vanitha. This is so nice. How the local community itself found the benefits of this program, that they came forward to say, why don't you guys set up? That speaks volume, right? Although it's in a rural setting, even then they understood that, it is extremely vital for people to have this kind of facility where they can go and get some treatment. That's good for the society itself. Amazing.
Because see, if you look at the, obviously it's a rural setting. So for them to access basic medical care or psychiatric care for that matter, they'll have to travel about an hour and a half.
Oh, they have to come back all the way to Chennai to do that.
Either Chennai or they'll have to go to the Chengalpet Government Hospital, which is about an hour and a half from, Kovalam, which is where
Okay.
we are.
Okay.
So that's when they also came up and said, why don't you, start? We also run clinics in the community. So it's not only we have outpatient clinics in our center, but we also work out of two.
Vanitha, you're breaking up.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that you're frozen now. So
Yeah, so you
yeah,
just
now I
repeat
think it's
what you
better.
said. Yeah. Just repeat what you said, and then we can edit it.
Okay. So we run outpatient clinics not only within our center, which is there in Kovalam, but we also run it out of two primary health centers. So primary health centers where general health care is already provided, we have integrated mental health care as well. So our team travels there twice a week, and we have about in and around the primary health centers, we have about 200 to 300 people who access our psychiatric
Wow,
clinics.
that is like quite a
So you
number.
see,
And
across over these years, we've had about 2,000, 3,000 people access our outpatient clinic, only the
outpatient clinic.
Chengalpet chapter.
That's quite a number, right? And I'm really
And
also thinking
of that,
yeah.
Currently we have about 900 people who are actively accessing the services.
Services,
So
like,
some
they're
have
just
gotten
repeatedly they're
better,
coming. Yeah. But what I'm trying to infer from all this is, like, typically mental health is something which is still considered a taboo in our society. It is not something which people would want to come out and openly discuss, because of the stigma which is associated with that. Especially in a place like Chengalpet, where it's more rural, people coming out of their comfort zone to the clinic for outpatient care itself speaks volume that what a transition the society is coming through, understanding, okay, when you have some kind of mental agony or distress or whatever you go through, there is help. That itself is a huge milestone, I would say, because
It has happened over these years. See, if you initially there was a lot of stigma, there was a lot of resistance from people to access clinics or even mental health services. So if you see even the journey of the Banyan, after the Emergency Care and Recovery Center was set up, when we stepped into catering to the community and starting outpatient clinics, the first outpatient clinic we started was out of a college.
Wow, okay.
The reason being that people did not want to come into a hospital setup, especially a mental health institution, because there was a lot of stigma. So what we did was we thought, okay, we'll tie up with a college. So we with the Department of Social Work and Loyola College, we tied up, and every Wednesday we used to run outpatient clinics out of the college. So people did not have an issue coming into a college setup because the society would think
society would not think that they're going to a mental hospital versus they're coming to a college campus. Oh my goodness.
college campus. And similarly, when we integrated mental health care into the primary health center, people didn't have an issue coming there and accessing care because they were coming into a general health facility. Nobody knew that they were coming to psychiatric care.
So nobody would judge them that you're actually going to meet a psychologist. It's a general health clinic. So you can go for any kind of ailments there. Wow.
And also in the Chengalpet chapter, one other aspect is that we have a lot of faith healing centers in and around. So we have a dargah, which is very close by, where there's a lot of faith healing that is happening for mental health issues. We also have a temple, Hanumantapuram temple, where again, they have faith healing for mental health issues. So people from different parts of Tamil Nadu, or even for that matter across India, come to access these services. So initially, when we set up this place, there was a lot of resistance from these faith healing centers. But then we said that we will coexist. We worked along with them. And now what happens is they send referrals to us. They say that, okay, we will do our own faith healing. and we'll also refer those people to you. So it can go hand in hand. It doesn't
My
have to
God.
be either this or that.
What a brilliant way. Because see, nothing against faith healing, right? That also is somebody's belief. You can definitely through, your faith, you can get cured. That is just one part of the equation. For them to understand that you have to actually go to a clinic also simultaneously in order to get a complete holistic care, that's a huge change in their perception. If for them to actually recommend and say, okay, we'll do our part, but then you also have to go there, right? Like that is amazing, especially in this kind of mental health care, right? Because see, when we let's say when we have a headache, or when we have some kind of ailment in our body, physical body, we go to the temple, of course, or whatever, we do our prayers, but we don't stop ourselves from going to a doctor. We know very well that we need to go and get medication for it. That's the exact same logic here. Of course, you want to go and connect to your higher power or whoever you believe in, saying that, please help me, guide me through this rough patch I'm going through. Having said that, I'll also make sure that I'm getting the right treatment, which
That's
together merged is going to really accelerate your recovery. Correct? Well, that's amazing.
Yes.
I'm so happy to hear that. So now I just want to go with the same logic, right?
Back to home again, because I think I've lost track of that. So I was just talking about the home again journey. So then from Grand Challenges Canada support, we set up about 12 houses. Then slowly we started exploring the idea of spreading it across other districts and other states of India as well. So once we finished Chengalpet, Chennai, Chennai also has about 12 again houses. So typically in each house, we would have anything between 5 to 6 users.
People, okay, users.
In a house. Yeah. So we have 12 houses in Chengalpet, 12 houses in Chennai. Then we slowly, one of our users in our ECRC Mogapair, the two sisters, Amali and Janaki, after they underwent treatment in our emergency care and recovery center, when they went back home to their village in Trichy, they asked us if they could start home again over there.
Wow.
So in Kovandakurchi, which is the village that they are from, they threw up this idea and they said, we would like to run the home again program over there. So right now, if you see, it's been about 7 years. They run it independently with very, very minimal support from social workers or any professionals. That is a very beautiful model that
what a success story that is, Vanitha.
Yes. And we have 9 houses over there with about 35 users, but all run independently by Amali and Janaki. Janaki is a nurse by profession. Amali is quite an administrative person. We do have a psychiatrist who visits often, and we also have social workers who visit once a week or once in a month to support the program. But otherwise, independently, the model is run by them.
Yeah, so there is a concept, people say, pay it forward, right? This is exactly what they're making sure that whatever they, they experienced, the positivity, they're just making sure they're spreading it out. That's such a success story it is.
And then we moved into Kerala. So Kerala also, we started the home again model first. So like each chapter, a different model has been initiated. So if you look at the Mogapair or the Chennai chapter, the ECRC was the first model that we set up. Then came Nalam, then home again. But in Chengalpet, it was the other way around. We started with Nalam, then we had the emergency care and recovery center, then home again. In Trichy, it is mainly the home again model. Yeah. And then ECRC, and then now Nalam. So based on the need of each, district or each,
you kind of customize the model versus going like one size fits all. You're trying to see what works in that particular locality.
Not that we start with ECRC, then we do home again, then we do Nalam. No, it's depending on the geography, depending on the need of that particular space. We start the model, whichever model is needed. And now if you see, home again is there in 9 states. We have, of these 9 states, 4 states, we run the program directly.
Okay.
The others, 5 states, we have partner organizations run the model. So that is the way approach.
So you're also collaborating with the other organizations, making sure that, you're not just keeping all this knowledge, what you have acquired because of the experiences over a period of time, making sure that imparting to others. So it's not like you want to have any kind of ownership to that. You're making sure you're sharing it collaborative with other organizations so it can be widely spread at a faster rate. Wow, that is amazing. So I want to understand something. I'm just in awe of how this whole program started, and how it has grown to leaps and bounds, and not just within Tamil Nadu, it has taken to other 9 states. So now I want to understand, in your role, right? I'm sure you interact with various stakeholders, like from individuals in recovery to community leaders, like you said, right? You had to always go and convince the local partners to say this is extremely successful and all that. So I'd like to understand, or give me a story, like share a story that profoundly impacted your perspective on mental health care. Like how if you were to look back in your journey, like 10 years ago, you were a totally different person and you had a totally different view about mental health care. And then this particular incident or some kind of happening that changed your perspective and you started operating totally different. I'd like to understand if you have any nuggets or a story like that, please share.
See, for me, the journey with Banyan itself from 2003, I think that has changed me as a person, because the kind of people that we come across in our day-to-day life, every day we meet new people, we meet people on the streets who are in a lot of distress. But when we ask them, what makes you want to live on the streets, or what gives you hope? The small things that they tell us impacts us a lot. For me, that creates a lot of change. For example, I met when we go for outreach, we meet a lot of people, as I said. So there is this gentleman who stays in outside the temple in Chengalpet. So he told me his story, and it's that he was from a very rich and affluent family. Only son, and both parents extremely rich. They ran a huge clothing, units, basically. They
had garment manufacturing unit. Okay.
Weaving units. They used to weave saris, silk saris. They had a huge unit, and they were filthy rich. And when they were rich, people used to come to them for things and all that. And suddenly what happened was both parents had a physical health issue, because of which one after the other, they moved on.
Oh, wow.
And he was left alone.
He was the only child.
Did not have any siblings, and he was the only child. So what happened was, when he was about 12 or 13 years old, the other, relatives, and they took over the entire business. They sent him out of house.
Oh my God.
And that came as a huge shock. And at that age, when he was out, he did not have, I didn't have money for the next meal. Just in a matter of a second, from so rich, where I could, take care of 100 families, I was in a situation where I didn't have a penny for the next.
Vanitha, okay.
Yeah, so
where
do I have to share this story?
No, you're just telling about like how in a matter of seconds, like he became homeless, right? Like having a family which was very affluent and
Yeah, that's right. The recording is restarted?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, from having enough money to take care of 100 families to, in the next minute, not even having a penny to have the next meal. That really hit me hard. And from the age of 13, when I met him, he is right now about 50, 55 years old. And for so many years, he's been homeless. The family has not been caring at all for him. He does not want to go back to that family. He says, it was my money, my parents' hard-earned money. It was supposed to be meant for me. But in a minute, it took everything from me and threw me out of the house. I asked him, didn't you ever want to fight back? everything is yours. It was all yours. They just took it over. Didn't you ever want to fight? He said, no. I learned life the hard way. That minute where I realized that today I'm penniless, but just few minutes back I was a filthy rich man. That really hit me hard, and I wanted to continue to live my life this way. So he lives only on the street, and he goes from one temple to the other temple. He's traveled across India. He loves, he is connect with Shiva is profound. So he talks about Lord Shiva a lot. So he's traveled across India to all the Shiva temples. And I asked him, where do you get the money from to travel? He says, no, I don't get any money to travel. I walk.
Oh
So
my God, he walks all the way to all the temples.
all the way. So he's gone all the northern side temples, Shiva temples. He's gone to. He stays there for a couple of days, couple of months. Then he goes from one Shiva temple to another Shiva temple. So that's how he wants to live his life, the rest of his life. So his name is Raju, and I still keep in touch with him. Whenever I go to that Tirupuru temple, I meet him. We spend some time together, and that really impacted me a lot. This
Oh
whole
my
incident.
God, what a profound story, right? And that also helps us introspect our own lives. We all think that we have, we have a long time on this universe, and we all act out of, out of ego sometimes, thinking that, we are superior and somebody else is inferior. But like to what you said, Raju, right? In a matter of seconds, he lost everything. But most importantly is how he has taken that in a positive stride, right?
Yeah.
That is
And
more
one
important.
thing that I also saw in him was he was wearing the most shabbiest of clothes. And I offered him, I told him, okay, I'll buy you a set of clothes. He said, no, I just have two sets of clothes. In the morning, I will wash one, I'll dry it in the pond nearby. I will wear the other one, I'll go around, I'll come back. The next day, I'll wear only that what I've dried in the pond. I don't want even one single extra piece of cloth.
So he's
He
very
just has
content. He's very content with what he has. He doesn't need anything more. He has realized the true essence of life. And, he's not scared to live alone. They say, right, the most, powerful people on this earth is who's learned to live alone, they say, because that's something which...
And also, basic things like food, etc. So I used to ask him, you have no money, so who gives you food? He says, I have a person over here. He pointed out to a hotel over there, and he says that owner knows me very well. He's been seeing me here for many, many years. So when I just go near the hotel, he'll give me food. I don't have to beg. I don't have to do anything. He'll just pack the dosa, whatever it is, that day. Whatever he wants to give me, he'll give me. So I don't have to go and beg. He'll give me. He'll give me the food. Somehow food will reach me, is what he said.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful story. And I'm sure that has impacted you,
Yes.
tremendously, because, that actually puts things in perspective for all of us, and specifically we all assume that people living on the streets, it's because, they don't want to take responsibility for their life, and they just want to sit on this and beg, and they don't want to work hard. But when you actually go and peel the onion and start having conversations with them, that's when you realize like what kind of traumatic experiences they've gone through, that they are come to the streets. It's not by choice. It is because they had no other alternative. And thank you so much for sharing that story. And it's hitting me hard. I really thank you. So next I want to ask you is like, implementation of this Home Again program, right? You did mention in bits and pieces about all the different things you had to, overcome in order for you to establish all these centers all across Tamil Nadu as well as in the different states. But within that, right, there's a lot of trial and error period also. Some things will work, some things won't work. So in that essence, like what strategies have proven most effective in your work at the Banyan? And how do you measure the success of these initiatives, specifically to Home Again?
I think the success of the Home Again model itself it came from the users. It was not what we thought of as a team, or the management put it across. So since it came from the users themselves, they wanted to ensure that this model was a success.
Okay,
And
I
I
got
feel
it. I got it.
they took it on. So even if there was a challenge in the community, they used to come up with ideas saying that, why don't we approach it this way? Why can't we speak to we work from in different districts, as I mentioned. Whenever we set up a model, working with the community in that particular area was a challenge. But we had these users. Now we have a solid network of peer advocates, and they would go ahead and do anything for, to ensure that that model would be a success.
Beautiful. Very nice.
And if you look at our home again model itself, see what we started off just where, we wanted 4 or 5 people to, settle in a house, form family, etc. That has grown over these years itself. For me, that itself is a huge,
Success.
success. Yes, because from just it being, so if you look at the home again model, there are 4 different options that we can provide in home again itself now, which was not the case in.
So they can get to choose what are the different things.
Yes. So initially it was just 4 or 5 people living together. The entire funding will be given by the banyan. We buy the provisions, we buy everything for them. We have, certainly we have a social worker who will monitor their medication. We have a personal assistant. So they play a key role, like how we have healthcare professionals in an institutional setup. We have something called a personal assistant each is home houses. For monitoring them, they'll be facilitating the process, etc. From that, now the model has evolved where we have something called supported housing, where the users have and they are earning a living, so they want to live independently and fully rented by the tenant.
Okay, I think you were talking about in general about home again program, how the actual clients initiated it. So everything is going as per the plan because they've taken the ownership, and that is the success of home again program. That's where we started breaking off, I guess.
Yeah, and see, over these years, home again also.
I'd like to understand, like, what are the basics or the foundational aspects that you think should be something they should learn who wants to come into the sector? So, see, for me, I came into the banyan with a very different perspective. So I always felt that I will be the person who's providing people, I will be giving people. So that changed when I came into the banyan. So for me, now it is, they are giving me. They are giving me ideas. They are basically building the entire, ecosystem
service usage.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Completely. So it's not my education. It's not me as a person who's giving them.
Got it.
Because that was the purpose with which I joined the band. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to bring out a change in the, people's lives, this, that, and all. No, not at all. They have impacted me.
It's the quiet reverse, actually.
Yes,
wow.
Yes, it is. All models that have evolved in the banyan, even now, when we have a session with the client, what we get from these sessions is what we make, the changes that we make. So even the ECRCs, when we initially, set up ECRC, when we get a rescue call, immediately we used to run and we used to just pick up the person and come and, we felt that, that was the need of the hour, and people need to be in an institutional setup and they need to undergo medical, they need medicines, etc. But over the years, when we've, interacted with our users, after, we feel that, okay, when they are not in, a state of distress, or when they are really unwell, they do not understand what is happening. But that's not the truth. When we had these sessions with them, they said, the day that you rescued me, do you even remember how you handled me?
Oh my God. So that means that...
Do you even remember how, the other co-workers were talking about me, or, how we were interacting in that rescue situation? So these kind of things, really impacted us a lot. And now what we do is, when we get a distress call, yes, we go, we see the situation, we see the person, but the option of coming into our facility is left to them.
It's a choice they have to make. You're not forcing them into anything. Okay,
Sure.
so the next question I have for you, Vanitha, is, you've given us all about your history, about how you came to Banyan and what were the different things you did over the course of time. And so now we want to pivot to Banyan's approach to mental health care, and how they advocate and promote for inclusive development, and what role do you play in this process in your specific line of work, what you do for Banyan. How do you play a role in to ensure that all the approach what Banyan is doing today, how is it more of an inclusive development?
Okay. So I did mention to you about how the home again model evolved over the years. So our peer leaders kind of, kickstart all the programs of the Banyan. Basically, the seed idea comes from them for us. And further to that, they support us in, planning and implementing the entire program. So it's not that only the professionals work towards development in the sector, but it's our peer leaders who actually, forge ahead and give the ideas to us. So they're there throughout to support us, and they are part of the government meetings that we all attend. They're part of the policy meetings that we attend. They come to the collectors' meetings. They are the people who come and represent mental health and the work that we do to the larger audience. So I think that's the way ahead also that Banyan would like to move, where we have more peer leaders, more people with lived experiences, advocating for the rights of persons with mental health issues. So that's the trajectory that the Banyan would also like to take, and more stakeholders in the sector. So it's not only the Banyan who is working for homeless people with mental health issues, but it is also other partner organizations, CSOs, etc., who come forward to work for this cause.
Beautiful, very nice. So the next thing I want to ask is around leadership and advocacy. So with your extensive experience in the space, having worked for Banyan and being on the ground, and so I would consider you as a leader in this mental health space. So what are some of the key lessons that you've learned that you believe are crucial for anyone working in the sector?
So, see, as I mentioned, our peer leaders are key to all our, work. So, as a leader, what I learn from them is very crucial for me because they have, we think that they do not have much knowledge, but actually their lived experiences shape, our programs and the future of the organization and the sector as well. So what I always do is when I come to a point where I'm stuck, I share my thoughts, we have a discussion, we dialogue with our peer leaders, our peer support group. And from there we gain, a lot of knowledge, and then we move ahead in our work. So one thing that I would say is, never disregard a person with a mental health issue or a person with a lived experience, because what they can bring to the table, no person, who's educated can also bring in.
Wow, what a profound way, because, experience is the best teacher in this world, right? No matter you have textbook experience or a lot of degrees behind your name, but when you actually go through the whole experience and you come out of it, the way you look at life and others is totally different. And the kind of insights and profound wisdom that you get from those individuals to course correct ourselves is amazing. You're absolutely right. Like, only there's a saying, right? In Tamil they say, right, anubhavame pardon solvanga. So I don't know, I feel like saying that because what I personally feel that in my life, that has been my own mantra is, if I I have been a same person 10 years ago versus if I compare myself, totally different. My view of life has changed. The way I look at individuals, different topics, what I would not, um, tolerate in the past. Now I'm like more accepting right now because I've gone through the journey. There's so much of life experiences which has forced me to think differently. So experience is the biggest guru, I should say. So I love the way you said it.
And
Thank you
also,
so much.
each person that we meet every day, we come across, when we go for our outreach or when we have new people coming into our facility, each one gives us a new learning and
Wow.
each one
Yes.
gives us fresh thoughts. So from that comes our, strength to work more and more in this sector.
Beautiful. Very nice. Thank you so much. So then I want to ask you about is your vision for the future, right? So looking ahead, what new projects or initiatives are you so excited about at the Banyan, and how do you envision their impact on the community? So if I were to ask you, like, 5 years from now, from where you are today, what do you envision? What kind of projects that you'd like to see implemented that will benefit the entire community at large?
So I would say for the Banyan, 5 years from now, there are various things that we are looking at doing. One is primarily, going a little more in depth into our own programs, our own models, and improve the quality of care that we provide for all these, people in our own programs. That's one of the key things because for 30 years, what we've been doing is we've been creating models. We've been, for whenever there's a need, we discuss, we ideate, we then set up a model, and then we move on to the next one. Now, what we would like to do is go in depth into these models based on our learnings and whatever data that we have. We would like to engage a lot more into research and publications. So
Oh,
that's
nice.
something that is focusing on. We have our Banyan Academy for Leadership and Mental Health. We have a research wing over there. So that would be one of the areas of focus of the Banyan. So more publications, specifically related to homeless people with mental health issues. It would be, one aspect that the Banyan is focusing on. The other aspect is impacting, or advocating for policy changes. So if you see,
Yes.
even now we have in government hospitals, the way that, care is being provided. Yeah, some government hospitals have definitely changed. They've evolved over the years, like how at the Banyan we have also evolved. But there are a lot of more changes that need to happen, and there needs to be a lot more openness rather than having it. We still have gates, and it's like some people really call it a jail in some of the government hospitals. So those things need to change. So policy level changes, provide. If you see. Across Banyan centers, we would have people working from who speak different languages. They basically from Orissa, Bihar, etc., etc. But why would they have to come all the way here, or why do they land up on the streets? Because they do not have adequate care facilities in their own districts or in their own villages. So trying to build more, stakeholders in the sector and trying to get them to work for homeless people with mental issues, trying to set up more ECRCs along with partner organizations. This, I think, is what we would like to, Banyan is looking at, and also sustainability of all these models. So financial sustainability is huge. So we keep, looking for funding organizations to support the program. So these are things that I think the Banyan would focus on. So primarily research and impact in the sector, policy level changes, and more number of partner organizations or CSOs coming forward to work in the sector. And also one key thing is develop more human resources specifically for mental health care, because that is lacking across India. So if you look at the number of psychiatrists or social workers or psychologists or healthcare professionals, to cater to the needs of these people, it's very, very minimal.
So what would you think today's ratio is like, is it like, 1:50, or what is the ratio available in India today?
No, for psychiatrists, I think it is 1:10,000 kind of a
Oh
ratio
my
because
God, Lord of
there's
mercy.
huge scarcity of psychiatrists, social workers, psychologists. So it's huge. I mean, one reason why the district mental health program also did not succeed is because of lack of human resources. One reason why it did not succeed as much as it should have is human resources. So the Banyan
So,
Academy is working towards that. So the Banyan does the implementation and the work in the field, and that is taken up and research is done through the Banyan Academy and disseminated across. And also we run courses, diploma courses, and we're also planning a master's course in mental health care. So that will kickstart maybe next year. So the Banyan Academy is headed to in that direction where they will run courses specific to mental health care.
so Vanitha, can I ask you a question, related to what you just said, like, the scarcity of resources. So, because the number of psychiatrists available, do you think people don't choose that kind of specialty such as psychiatry because of the stigma associated in the community, or there's no enough people going to a psychiatrist today if they have mental care issues? So do you think people are not, or the doctors are not opting to go into psychiatry once they graduate? Is the reason because it's not much lucrative? And what is the science behind it? Why we don't have that many psychiatrists in our
I
country?
think there are multiple reasons for that. There are multiple reasons for that. One, I don't think it is that people don't choose psychiatry, but I would say that there are some people who complete their psychiatry and then move abroad. Most of them.
Okay,
We
so they're
also
not.
had a lot of our psychiatrists who joined us over the years move abroad for work. So that is one main reason I feel that we have a scarcity here also. And
I
also,
go.
if you look at the number of government hospitals which have psychiatrists, it's very minimal. So basically, yeah, one is that they go abroad. Another thing is that even if they choose psychiatry and the way they are placed in government settings, there is a challenge for them because we have heard from some of the psychiatrists that when they're placed in government hospitals, they land up not only doing providing mental health care, but they also look at general health care as well. So they multitask basically. So they lose focus in the end.
Got it. So, what about this way? Like, I know we definitely need to have trained professionals such as psychiatrists and psychologists to come into this sector to help people. On the other hand, let's say there are social workers who don't have a specific degree per se, which is related to psychiatry or psychology. However, they have a really good EQ, and they're able to empathize and work with people because of experience and because of their own personality or their own history, or they have supported many other individuals within their family who has gone through the same ordeal. Maybe they are better equipped to work with these individuals. So, do you encourage those kind of people to come into it so that we're not only focusing on trained professionals?
Yes. So if you look at our human resources, manpower, basically, the healthcare workers, the personal assistants, the Nalam mobilizers, all these category of people are all people who have just completed their 10th or 12th grade. So they
Okay.
come with no experience or background in mental health care. So we onboard them and we train them, and now we have about above 400 employees at the Banyan across our sites. And if you see the kind of mental health care that they can provide is just amazing. So as you mentioned very clearly, their EQ is high. They also come with personal experiences, most of them. So if you look at our Nala mobilizers, a portion of them are single parents, or they have undergone some kind of mental health issues. They've undergone, either depression or some people clinical depression. Some people who have had people in their families with mental health issues, they've been caregivers. So these are the kind of people who are actually working with us as well. So as I mentioned, for us working in the sector, of course, we need social psychologists and social workers, but we have onboarded people who have had no background in mental health care and trained them, and now they are in the field.
Beautiful. So I have the last question for you, and it is related to my previous question as well. So advice for aspiring professionals, right? What advice would you give to young professionals who are eager to make a difference in mental health and social care? Especially since you started off here, you will be the best person to answer this question because you have a really good track record. And from your own experience, you can say, like, young people who are coming right out of college, like you mentioned, like a 12th grader or even after college, and someone who wants to definitely work in this space, what is your advice?
Okay. See, the new trend that I am seeing, I've been with the Banyan for, more than 20 years now. So I've seen a lot of young professionals come in and move out, come in and move out. But one thing that I have great is the level of, patience and endurance is quite low in the current, set of people. They are unable to, for a prolonged period of time, manage challenges or go in depth into any work that they do. So that is something that I would want them to focus on a lot more. This working with persons with mental health issues is not easy. If you look at the work that we do, we have people who move on. We have people who have been with us for several years and they have passed away. It does take a toll on us. Like some of them have been very close to us, and over the years they've grown being part of our family itself. So when they pass on, it does become a challenge for us. But of late, I have seen is that some of the professionals are unable to manage these stresses, and it is difficult. It's grief. We do have a support group where they provide grief counseling and all that. Despite all these things, I think the younger generation currently is not up to facing challenges. Something that I have very clearly seen in some of the professionals that we have here. So I think that is something that they will need to work on, because working in the sector is not easy. Not only mental health care, any disability for that matter. So, and the notion that they come with is that they are doing service to people. No, it's not service.
It's actually the other way around.
Yeah. So that is something that has to change. That notion has to change. I'm a social worker or I'm a psychologist. I'm not doing service to people. It is not that. I'm facilitating a process. I'm a facilitator. That's all. That's how I would see it. In fact, I learn more from them, and I've changed more as a person from the experiences that I've heard from them. So I'm what I was before, I'm definitely not that person now. Over the years, I've evolved from the experiences that I've heard from my, clients or colleagues for that matter. Even Nala mobilizers, as I mentioned, some of them are single parents. I learn from them. So each person that I come across, I learn something or the other. That has what has made me today. So I would ask them to be open-minded, not close up too much, and never go with the notion that you are providing. It is a process where you're facilitating and it's mutual. That's what I would.
Thank you so much, Vanitha, because you're right. You're saying that, everybody comes into these kind of, sectors or professions. People think they're doing service. Yes. Maybe, but actually it's a two-way street. What you come out of the whole experience, like you're a better version of yourself. When you really want to have that inner transformation, these are the places where you have to go and see your own, if you have to change, this is how I believe. You need to see an internal transformation within yourself. You should be willing to go and challenge the status quo and get out of your comfort zone and go and work in a space where you're uncomfortable. And then you will get to see your own reflection, like, what are your limitations and challenges? That's when you start to see, oh my God, there's so much outside of my own comfort zone that I am yet to learn. That's when you as a person transform, in essence, then everything around you also transforms. So when I started this journey, just this 3 weeks of having sessions with all of you, I came with a mindset, I'm going to learn a lot from you, because I know nothing. I'll be honest. I'm zero in what I know about mental health, as much as we read articles and we read books. And I personally have gone through my own phases in life. Other than that, I know nothing. So I came with an open mind. I was reading all your bios. And when I was framing the questions, I looked at it from a point of me as a student, what I want to learn from all of you. So I put in my shoes, my hat was a student hat. I was like, if I were, as a student, what questions will I ask? So I'm assuming that there are so many people just like me who's going to listen to this podcast is coming as a student and want to know more in the space. So that how will they actually contribute to this? Plus making sure that they're educating themselves. See, one of the biggest thing in our community is lack of education, or lack of knowledge on that space, what goes along. And just from an educational perspective, your view on that particular aspect changes, and then the transformation occurs immediately, right? See, I have 2 teenagers, and one of the things I learn from them every day is, like, they come and, because they go to school in United States, they come and tell me about different aspects, what goes on in school. I was not school year, so I know nothing. So for me, it is like learning all over again. And what I post 20 years of them going to school, what me as a person has transformed. Their outlook towards life, the way they meet their friends and the way they interact, and they don't judge anybody. They accept them the way they are. So I transformed as a person. My children taught me so much in the process. So I'm like, oh my God, this generation is so open. They're accepting everybody. They're just the way they are. So it's like, so I like the change, what has occurred in me. I'm more accepting right now. If 20 years ago, I can very humbly and honestly say I was not like that. So I guess for me, this 3 weeks of interaction with all of you has been the wealth of knowledge. I don't think I would have got that kind of knowledge even sitting in a classroom session or going into a university, because that is the biggest gift for me, I would say, sitting with all of you. So thank you. And you're bringing up the right point, right? Patience is a virtue. You can't come with any preconceived notion saying that this is how it will work. There is no any set agenda. This is not corporate work wherein it's a 9 to 5 job, or you have a specific process in play. Nothing. You cannot go by the rule book. Each and every client is different. How you approach them is different. Their experiences are different. So you have to come, rather than working from your head, you should work from your heart. So you should be ready for that. So it has to come from within, from your heart.
Absolutely.
Unless you have that empathy for that fellow human being who has gone through that traumatic experience, and put yourself in their shoes and say, this could be you as well. You rightfully said in the beginning of the interviews, like, anybody can go through it. There's no any, it is not like you only a few individuals are chosen to go through this. No, in a minute, anybody's life can change. So we all have to accept. How do you be compassionate human beings in this earth to accept everybody around you, irrespective of their socioeconomic conditions, and accept them? So thank you. Just having conversations with you, Vanitha, my view of life has changed. I'm sure post these interviews with Banyan, I'm definitely a different person. And again, I'll try my best to convey this message of mental health awareness and how important it is to be, empathizing to everybody around you, because some people come out and say what they're going through. Some people even, cannot come out and say what they're going through, but look at from the lens that every human is going through their own journey. We all can extend a helping hand always. So thank you. So as final thoughts, right? Before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what do you want to say, Vanitha? Like, how has your journey with Banyan, and whatever you want to say as final thoughts, which can be a beautiful nugget to everybody listening to this podcast?
Okay. So my journey with the Banyan, I think as a person, I've changed a lot. And my perspective towards life has changed. So always be open, to whether it is a person who's older than you or younger than you. Willing to learn. That's something that I've learned over the years. So being open, not judging people, and accepting whatever comes my way. That is something that I've learned in this journey with the Banyan. So yeah, I think just be yourself and challenge yourself, basically. Don't stop learning at any point of time in your life. That's something that I've always have learned and keep learning, especially from our founders, Vandana and Vaishnavi. They keep challenging perspectives. They keep challenging different models of care. Every second, they're true visionaries, in my opinion. So I keep learning.
And that too, they had that vision at a very young age. I can't still put my thoughts around it. Like at 21 years of age, how can you have that kind of a clarity that what you want to do with your life? And look at the transformation they've brought in how many people's lives. So they are, in my eyes, the true visionaries of this world. Thank you so much for telling that.
They've been my mentors as well. So I learn a lot from them. So they could have stopped. They could have said, okay, fine. I think one model, that's enough. Why do we need, they didn't have to look at long-term care, how to move on. So we've had people with homeless people with mental health issues come into our programs. Yes. With that, they could have just stopped, but they moved on. Each time they hit a dead end, they used to think, they used to ideate, they used to work. And there's never been, a phase where they said, okay, fine, this is it. It's never happened in the journey of the Banyan. We keep evolving, we keep learning, and I don't think these roadblocks will ever stop us from, building things in the sector. So that's
beautiful. Thank you so much. So as we conclude today's session with Vanitha Rajesh, I'm inspired by her dedication and the transformative work of the Banyan. Vanitha, thank you for sharing your profound insights and the impactful stories from your journey in mental health care. Your work not only changes lives, but also shapes how communities understand and support mental health. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Planet Forward with Preetha. We hope today's conversation has enriched your understanding of the powerful role inclusive programs play in the mental health and community care. Join us next time as we continue to explore more stories that push the boundaries of innovation and compassion. Keep pushing the planet forward, one episode at a time. Until then, stay inspired and motivated. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Planet Forward with Preetha, conversations for a greener future. Together, we're exploring the innovations and stories that inspire us to think and act for a sustainable world. If you're inspired by today's conversation and want to be part of this journey toward a greener future, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode filled with groundbreaking ideas and actionable solutions. Let's continue to make a difference, one episode at a time. I'm Preetha, reminding you to make every day count for our planet. Until next time, keep moving the planet forward.